Your salary isn't keeping you poor. Your system is. A salary can feel like safety. It arrives on schedule. It gives your month structure. It tells you when you can breathe again. It gives you the illusion that as long as the next paycheck comes, everything is under control. But that same comfort can quietly become a cage. Not because earning a salary is bad. A salary can feed you. It can protect you. It can help you build. It can fund your first investments. It can buy your first tools. It can pay for the skills that change your future. The problem is not the salary itself. The problem is what happens after it arrives. Most people do not receive a paycheck. They receive temporary relief. They get paid, and for a moment, the pressure drops. The bills can be paid. The credit card can be handled. The rent can be covered. The groceries can be bought. The debt can be delayed. The stress can be pushed a few weeks forward. And then, slowly, the money disappears. Some of it goes to survival. Some of it goes to obligations. Some of it goes to comfort. Some of it goes to convenience. Some of it goes to habits. Some of it goes to emotional spending. Some of it goes to the life you already have. And by the time the next paycheck is closed, the same feeling returns. Pressure. Waiting. Counting days. Checking the account. Hoping nothing unexpected happens before payday. That is the paycheck trap. It is not just being paid every month. It is needing to be rescued by every paycheck. And there is a difference. A person with a salary can be building wealth. But a person trapped by a paycheck is always one delay, one emergency, one mistake, or one lost job away from panic. The uncomfortable truth is this. Your salary is not automatically progress. Income is not progress. Getting paid is not progress. Having a higher paycheck is not always progress. Progress is what remains after your habits are done with your money. That is the part most people avoid. They ask, how much do I make? But the better question is, how much of what I make is still working for me after 30 days? Because if your money enters your life, passes through your hands, and leaves nothing behind, then your salary is not building your future. It is only renting your present. And this is why two people can earn the same amount and end up in completely different places. One turns income into payments. The other turns income into ownership. One turns income into comfort. The other turns income into margin. One turns income into status. The other turns income into assets. One waits for a raise. The other builds a system. Same salary, different design. That word matters, design. Most people do not have a money problem only. They have a design problem. Their financial life is designed to consume everything they earn, not intentionally. Nobody wakes up and says, today I will build a system that keeps me dependent forever. But that is what happens when there is no system. No automatic saving. No clear categories, no emergency fund, no investment habit, no second skill, no plan for extra income, no rules for debt, no resistance against lifestyle inflation. So the paycheck arrives into chaos, and chaos always has an appetite. A chaotic system will eat any amount of money. Give it a small paycheck, it consumes it. Give it a larger paycheck, it expands and consumes that too. Give it a bonus, it finds a reason to spend it. Give it a raise. It upgrades the lifestyle before upgrading the foundation. That is why earning more does not always solve the problem. More money helps only when the system improves. Without a better system, more money just creates a more expensive version of the same stress. This is the trap of lifestyle inflation. At first, you think the next raise will finally change everything. When I earn more, I will save. When I earn more, I will invest. When I earn more, I will pay debt. When I earn more, I will stop worrying. When I earn more, I will be disciplined. But then the raise comes, and almost immediately, life adjusts. A better apartment, a better phone, more subscriptions, more eating out, more convenience, more expensive weekends, a newer car, a bigger credit limit, a slightly more comfortable cage. And after a few months, the higher income feels normal. The stress returns. The same fear returns. The same waiting returns. Only now, the life you must maintain costs more. That is not freedom. That is upgraded dependency. Many people do not become wealthier when their income rises. They simply become more expensive to maintain. And that is one of the most dangerous forms of financial self-deception. Because from the outside, it looks like progress. Better things, better places, better photos, better lifestyle, better appearance. But underneath, there is no margin, no real cushion, no growing assets, no second engine, no freedom to walk away. No ability to handle a crisis without debt. This is why the first goal is not to look rich. The first goal is to create margin. Margin is the space between what you earn and what your life consumes. Without margin, every emergency becomes a threat. Without margin, Every repair becomes debt. Every medical expense becomes panic. Every job issue becomes fear. Every delay becomes stress. Every opportunity becomes impossible. Margin is not glamorous. It does not impress anyone. Nobody posts a screenshot of not spending money. Nobody applauds you for keeping your lifestyle below your income. Nobody gives you status for avoiding a bad purchase. But margin is where freedom begins. Because margin creates options. And options are the first real form of wealth. If you have no margin, you cannot invest consistently. You cannot build an emergency fund. You cannot learn new skills without pressure. You cannot take strategic risks. You cannot leave a toxic job. You cannot say no as easily. You cannot survive a bad month without damage. Your salary becomes a chain because every dollar already has a master. Rent owns part of it. Debt owns part of it. Banks own part of it. Subscriptions own part of it. Habits own part of it. Impulse owns part of it. Status owns part of it. Convenience owns part of it, and your future self gets whatever is left, usually nothing. That is backwards. Your future cannot live on leftovers. If your future receives only what remains after the world is done with you, your future will be poor. Not because you never earned money, but because your money was never assigned to build anything beyond the current month. This is why pay yourself first is not just a financial tactic. It is an identity shift. The usual system says, earn, spend, pay bills, handle debt, buy things, maybe save if something remains. The wealth-building system says, earn, protect the future first, then design the rest of the month around what remains. That reversal is powerful, because it changes who gets priority. Most financial education materials repeat this idea in different ways. Waiting for leftover money rarely works. A portion must be separated before spending absorbs it. And this is where many people resist. They say, I can't save much. That may be true, but the amount is not the only point. The first point is not becoming rich with one transfer. The first point is proving to yourself that your future has a claim on your income. Even a small amount can train the identity. Because when you separate money first, you are saying, I'm not only a worker, I am a builder. That matters. A person who sees themselves only as a worker usually spends like someone trying to survive the week. A person who sees themselves as a builder treats every paycheck as raw material. The worker asks, what can this paycheck pay for? The builder asks, what can this paycheck become? That question changes everything, because your salary can become many things. It can become rent, food, debt, entertainment, and convenience. But it can also become an emergency fund. It can become investments. It can become a new skill. It can become tools. It can become a small business. It can become a digital product. It can become a machine. It can become ownership. It can become time. That is the deeper point. Money is not just money. Money is stored choice. The more money you direct toward assets, skills, and margin, the more future choices you buy. The more money you direct toward impulses, status, and unnecessary debt, the more future choices you sell. Every paycheck is a trade. You are trading your time, energy, attention, and life force for money. Then you trade that money again. And the second trade determines whether your work becomes freedom or disappears into consumption. That is why spending is not neutral. Every expense has a direction. Some expenses sustain you. Food sustains you. Shelter sustains you. Healthcare sustains you. Transportation may sustain your ability to work. Tools may sustain your productivity. Some expenses restore you. Rest matters. Joy matters. Family matters. Health matters. Experiences can matter, but some expenses only sedate you. They do not improve your life. They only help you tolerate a life you are not changing. That is where the danger is. Emotional spending often feels like self-care, but sometimes it is self-sabotage wearing comfortable clothes. You had a hard week, so you buy something. You feel behind, so you upgrade something. You feel invisible, so you purchase something visible. You feel tired, so you choose convenience every day. You feel anxious, so you scroll and buy. You feel trapped, so you spend to feel temporarily free. The problem is not one purchase. The problem is when spending becomes your emotional regulation system, because then your salary is no longer building your future. It is managing your mood, and a paycheck that only manages your mood will never create freedom. This is why building wealth requires psychological maturity. Not just math. Yes, numbers matter. You need to know what comes in. You need to know what goes out. You need to understand interest. You need to understand inflation. You need to understand investing. You need to understand risk. But before all of that, you need to understand yourself. You need to know when you spend to impress, when you spend to escape, when you spend to compensate, when you spend because you feel deprived, when you spend because you are tired, when you spend because you compare yourself to people you do not even like. Without that awareness, any budget becomes temporary, because the budget says one thing, but the emotional system does another. That is why automation matters. Automation is not just convenience. Automation protects your plan from your mood. If you wait to feel disciplined every month, you will eventually lose. You will be tired. You will be busy. You will be stressed. You will find reasons. You will negotiate with yourself. You will postpone. You will say, next month. But if the money moves automatically when you get paid, you do not need to win the argument every time. The system wins for you. This is one of the most important principles. Do not build a financial life that depends on your best mood. Build one that survives your worst mood. Because anyone can make a good decision when motivated. The question is, what happens when you are tired, angry, lonely, stressed, or discouraged? A strong system keeps protecting you even then. Automatic transfer to savings, automatic investment, separate account for emergencies, separate account for bills, rules for purchases, waiting period before buying expensive things, clear limits for lifestyle upgrades, a written plan for bonuses and raises. These are not restrictions. They are guardrails. And guardrails do not exist because you are weak. They exist because the road has cliffs. The modern world is designed to extract money from distracted people. Every app wants attention. Every brand wants desire. Every bank wants interest. Every platform wants subscription revenue. Every advertisement wants dissatisfaction. Every store wants frictionless spending. So if your financial plan is just, I'll try to be careful, you are underestimating the opponent. You need a system. A paycheck without a system is vulnerable. A paycheck with a system becomes a tool. And this is where the transformation begins. You stop asking, how do I survive until the next paycheck? And start asking, how do I make this paycheck reduce my dependence on future paychecks? That is a completely different game, because survival asks for relief, freedom asks for construction. Survival says, what do I need right now? Freedom says, what can I build so I need less rescue later? Survival spends the paycheck. Freedom assigns it. Survival waits for payday. Freedom makes payday less powerful over time. That should be your goal. Not to hate your salary. Not to quit recklessly. Not to pretend jobs are useless. Your salary can be extremely useful, but only if it is no longer treated as the finish line. Your salary is not the destination. It is the fuel. The question is whether that fuel powers consumption or construction. Now let's build the actual architecture. Because without architecture, income turns into noise. Money arrives, money leaves. You promise to do better. Then the same pattern repeats. That is not because you are stupid. It is because your paycheck has no structure. A paycheck without structure becomes a pool of available money. And available money is dangerous, because if everything is available, everything can be justified. A dinner can be justified. A new phone can be justified. A subscription can be justified. A small upgrade can be justified. A weekend trip can be justified. A purchase you do not need can be justified. A little debt can be justified. The problem is not justification. The problem is accumulation. One justified expense becomes 10. 10 become habits. Habits become lifestyle. Lifestyle becomes fixed cost. Fixed cost becomes pressure. And pressure makes your salary feel smaller every year. That is why the first step is not motivation. It is separation. Your paycheck needs boundaries. The moment income arrives, it should stop being one pile of money. It should become different jobs. One part keeps you alive. One part protects you. One part repairs the past. One part builds the future. One part increases your earning power. This is the difference between income and design. Income is what arrives. Design is what your money becomes. Most people only focus on income. They think, if I made more, everything would improve. Sometimes that is true. But often, more income without better design becomes more leakage. So let's think in categories. The first category is survival. This is the money that pays for your basic life. Housing, food, transportation, utilities, insurance, healthcare, basic obligations. This category is not the enemy. You cannot build wealth by destroying your basic stability, but you can damage your future by confusing survival with comfort, convenience, and status. That distinction matters. A place to live is survival. A place that consumes half your income because you want a certain image may be status. Food is survival. Constant delivery because you never plan may be leakage. Transportation is survival. A car payment that traps you may be lifestyle inflation. A phone may be necessary. Replacing it constantly may be identity spending. The goal is not to hate spending. The goal is to stop lying about what each expense really is. Because once you name an expense honestly, you can control it. The second category is protection. This is where many people fail. They want to grow before they can survive a hit. They want to invest before they can handle a flat tire. They want to start a business before they can survive one bad month. They want high returns while one emergency could force them into credit card debt. That is fragile. Protection means building a buffer between you and chaos. The emergency fund is not exciting. It does not make you feel like a genius investor. It does not produce viral screenshots, but it gives you psychological power. And psychological power is underrated. When you have no emergency fund, life negotiates against you. Your car breaks down and you accept bad debt. You get sick and you swipe a card. You lose income and you panic. Your job becomes unbearable and you stay because you cannot breathe financially. An opportunity appears and you cannot take it because every dollar is already committed. But when you have a buffer, the same events feel different, still uncomfortable, but not catastrophic. That is the purpose of protection. It turns disasters into problems, and problems can be solved. Disasters take over your life. A buffer gives you time. Time to think, time to compare options, time to avoid desperate decisions, time to negotiate, time to breathe. That is why an emergency fund is not dead money. It is stored calm, and calm has financial value. Desperate people make expensive decisions. They sell good assets at bad times. They borrow at terrible rates. They accept unfair conditions. They buy into scams. They chase quick money. They stay in toxic situations because they cannot afford movement. So before you think about becoming rich, build enough protection to stop being financially fragile. The third category is debt repair. Debt is future income already sold. That sentence matters. When you take bad debt, you are not only borrowing money. You are giving a future version of yourself less freedom. A portion of a future paycheck is already owned by a decision from the past. And if the interest rate is high, that past decision becomes even more aggressive. It does not just take money, it multiplies against you. This is why high-interest consumer debt is one of the most dangerous enemies of salary-based wealth, because it turns your paycheck into a repair tool. Instead of building assets, you are cleaning up old impulses. Instead of buying freedom, you are buying back income you already spent. Instead of moving forward, you are dragging yesterday. That does not mean all debt is evil. Some debt can be productive if it buys an asset, increases earning power, or is used carefully with a clear plan. But consumer debt used for lifestyle, image, impulse, or emotional relief is different. That kind of debt does not expand you. It shrinks your future. So part of your salary may need to become a weapon against debt. Not because paying debt feels exciting. It often feels boring. You send money away and receive no visible reward. No new object, no applause, no upgrade, no status. But something important happens. Your future paycheck becomes less owned. Each debt eliminated returns a piece of your income to you. Each high-interest balance reduced slows the machine working against you. Each payment removed increases your margin, and margin is fuel. This is why paying high-interest debt can be one of the strongest investments at the beginning. Because if your debt is charging you more than your realistic investment return, the math is clear. Stop the bleeding first, then build. You cannot fill a bucket while ignoring the hole. The fourth category is growth. This is the money that increases your earning power. Many people skip this category. They save a little. Maybe they invest a little, but they never increase their ability to earn. And when your income stays flat while costs rise, life gets tighter. Growth money is different from survival money. It buys skills, courses, books, tools, certifications, software, practice materials, coaching, equipment, projects that teach you something useful. But not every course is growth. Not every book is growth. Not every tool is growth. Growth spending should increase your ability to create value. That means you should ask, will this help me earn more? Will this help me solve a real problem? Will this help me become more useful to the market? Will this help me build something I can sell? Will this help me improve a skill people already pay for? Because learning is beautiful, but financial growth requires market relevance. You may love learning random things. That is good. But if your financial life is trapped, at least one part of your learning must be attached to income. Writing, selling, coding, design, video editing, language skills, data analysis, public speaking, negotiation, technical repair, digital marketing, financial analysis, project management, consulting, a professional specialization. A salary can pay for the skill that eventually makes the salary less necessary. That is powerful. The fifth category is ownership. This is where your salary begins to become wealth. Because the ultimate goal is not only to earn, the goal is to own. Own assets, own skills, own systems, own equity, own products, own relationships, own distribution, own reputation. A person who only earns must keep working for every dollar. A person who owns can eventually earn from things that do not require constant direct effort. That is why investing matters. But investing should be understood correctly. Buying stocks is not supposed to be treated like buying lottery tickets. When you buy shares, you are buying partial ownership in businesses. When you buy ETFs, you may be buying diversified exposure to many companies or assets. This is why many financial education sources describe stocks and ETFs as ways to make money work through ownership rather than direct labor. That does not remove risk. Markets move, prices fall, companies disappoint, cycles change, people panic, bad decisions happen. But the principle matters. You are trying to move from pure labor income to ownership-based income and growth. That is a major shift. The employee asks, "How many hours did I work?" The owner asks, "What assets did I acquire?" The employee asks, "What did I get paid?" The owner asks, "What did I keep and compound?" The employee asks, "Can I afford this?" The owner asks, "Will this make me freer or more dependent?" Again, this does not mean quitting your job tomorrow. It means using your job to buy pieces of freedom. Your paycheck should slowly purchase things that reduce your dependence on paychecks. An emergency fund reduces dependence. Paying debt reduces dependence. A valuable skill reduces dependence. Investments reduce dependence. A small business reduces dependence. A digital product reduces dependence. A professional reputation reduces dependence. A network of clients reduces dependence. Each one is a step away from needing everything to go perfectly. Now let's talk about the practical split. There is no universal percentage that works for everyone. A person with children, debt, medical costs, or unstable income will need a different plan than someone single, healthy, and debt-free. But the structure can be universal. Every paycheck should answer 5 questions. What keeps me alive? What protects me? What repairs my past? What grows my value? What buys my future? If your paycheck answers only the first question, you are surviving. If it answers the first 2, you are becoming safer. If it answers the first 3, you are recovering control. If it answers all 5, you are building freedom. That is the architecture. Now let's make this more concrete. Imagine someone earning a normal salary. They do not have much extra. They are not rich. They cannot invest huge amounts. But they decide that every paycheck will be divided immediately. A portion goes to bills. A small automatic transfer goes to an emergency account. Another portion attacks high-interest debt. A small amount goes to a skill they are learning. A small investment goes into a long-term account. At first it looks unimpressive, almost laughable. The emergency fund grows slowly. The debt drops slowly. The investment looks tiny. The skill is not profitable yet, but something invisible is happening. The person is no longer living in a one-direction system. Before, money came in and disappeared. Now, every paycheck leaves traces. A little less debt, a little more protection, a little more skill, a little more ownership, a little more confidence. That is how wealth begins for ordinary people, not as a dramatic event, as a repeating pattern. The repeating pattern matters more than the first amount, because once the pattern exists, it can be expanded. When income rises, the pattern grows. When debt is paid off, that payment can be redirected. When the emergency fund reaches its target, more can go to investing. When a skill starts producing income, that income can be reinvested. When investments grow, compounding begins to matter more. This is why you need a system before you need a large income. A large income poured into a broken system disappears. A modest income put through a strong system can build. Slowly at first, then noticeably, then powerfully. This is also why the beginning feels boring. Nothing dramatic happens. No one notices. Your life may look almost the same. Same clothes, same apartment, same car, same job, same routine. But underneath, the financial foundation is changing, and foundations are supposed to be invisible. Nobody admires the foundation of a building, but when the storm comes, the foundation is what matters. So do not judge your progress only by what is visible. A visible upgrade can be fake progress. An invisible improvement can be real progress. A paid-off debt is invisible, but real. An emergency fund is invisible, but real. An automatic investment habit is invisible, but real. A new skill practiced quietly is invisible, but real. A lower fixed cost is invisible, but real. A better system is invisible, but real. And over time, reality beats appearance. Now let's discuss something very important. Your system must be simple enough to survive real life. Many people create complicated plans that collapse after 2 weeks. They track every cent for a moment. They build perfect spreadsheets. They make aggressive budgets. They promise extreme discipline. They cut everything. They try to transform their personality overnight. Then life happens. They get tired. They overspend. They feel guilty. They quit. The better approach is to make the system sustainable. Start with automatic separation. Start with one emergency account. Start with one debt priority. Start with one skill. Start with one investment habit. Start with one spending leak. Do not try to fix your entire financial life in one weekend. You are not trying to create a burst of control. You are trying to create a new normal. A new normal beats temporary intensity, because intensity fades. Normal repeats. This is why small automatic actions can beat heroic effort. A small transfer every paycheck. A small investment every month. A small debt overpayment. A few hours of skill practice every week. One avoided impulse purchase. One planned meal instead of daily convenience. One rule for bonuses. These things are not exciting. But wealth is often built by people willing to do boring things long enough for the results to become exciting. The world celebrates dramatic outcomes, but the outcome usually comes from unglamorous repetition. Now, one more point. Your financial system must protect you from comparison. Comparison is one of the fastest ways to destroy margin. You see someone traveling, someone upgrading, someone buying, someone celebrating, someone showing success, someone living bigger, and suddenly your reasonable plan feels small. You start thinking, I work hard too. I deserve more. Why am I holding back? Maybe I should enjoy life more. Maybe I am behind. This is dangerous because you are comparing your full reality to someone else's edited display. You do not see their debt. You do not see their anxiety. You do not see their family help. You do not see their credit card balance. You do not see their hidden stress. You do not see whether they own anything or just rent an image. Do not let someone else's performance rewrite your system. Your goal is not to look free. Your goal is to become free. That requires patience. And patience is hard in a world designed to make everything feel urgent. Buy now. Upgrade now. Travel now. Prove yourself now. Show success now. Do not miss out, but wealth often belongs to the person who can wait without feeling inferior. Delayed gratification is not just saying no. It is saying yes to something bigger that has not arrived yet. You are not denying yourself. You are choosing a better future self over a temporary emotional spike. That is maturity. And maturity is profitable. So the architecture is simple. Separate your paycheck immediately. Protect yourself. Eliminate expensive debt. Increase your earning power. Buy or build assets. Avoid lifestyle inflation. Automate as much as possible. Measure what remains. Repeat. That is not flashy, but it works far better than waiting for one magical opportunity. Because most people do not need more fantasy. They need a system that makes their next paycheck matter. Now let's talk about leverage, because saving money matters. Investing matters. Reducing debt matters. Building margin matters. But if your entire financial life depends on one paycheck, you are still fragile. Even if you are responsible, even if you are disciplined, even if you are good at your job, even if you have been employed for years, one income stream means one main point of failure. One employer, one industry, one contract, one boss, one schedule, one organization, one decision maker, one source of oxygen. That may feel stable when everything is going well, but stability is not proven when life is calm. Stability is proven when something breaks. A job can change. A company can restructure. A manager can become unbearable. A market can shift. A technology can replace tasks. A health problem can reduce your capacity. A family emergency can change your schedule. A recession can arrive. A conflict can push you out. A career path can stop growing. And if all your income comes from one place, your freedom depends on that place continuing to behave kindly. That is not real security. That is dependency with a predictable deposit date. This is why your salary must do more than pay for your life. Your salary must fund your second engine. Not because everyone needs to become a full-time entrepreneur. Not because employment is bad. not because quitting recklessly is brave. In many cases, quitting without a plan is not bravery. It is financial self-harm. The intelligent move is different. Use the paycheck while it exists. Use it to build skills. Use it to buy tools. Use it to create a buffer. Use it to test ideas. Use it to acquire assets. Use it to fund experiments. Use it to build something outside the job before you need it. A salary can be a cage, but it can also be seed capital. The difference is how you use it. Most people use their salary to make dependence more comfortable. They upgrade the cage. A better apartment inside dependence. A better car inside dependence. Better restaurants inside dependence. Better clothes inside dependence. Better entertainment inside dependence. Nothing wrong with comfort. But comfort without ownership can become a sedative. It makes the cage feel less urgent. So years pass, and the person is still dependent on the same paycheck, only with higher monthly obligations. The strategic person uses comfort carefully. They do not hate pleasure, but they know that too much comfort, too early, can delay freedom. So they ask a different question. How can this paycheck reduce the power that future paychecks have over me? That question leads to leverage. Leverage means using something you already have to produce a larger result. Money can be leverage. A small amount spent on the right skill can increase your income for years. Time can be leverage. A few focused hours per week can build a portfolio, a product, or a client base. Knowledge can be leverage. What you know can become consulting, teaching, writing, content, systems, or services. Technology can be leverage. Software can help one person do what used to require a team. Distribution can be leverage. An audience, an email list, a professional network, or a channel can make one idea reach many people. Capital can be leverage. Investments can grow without requiring you to sell more hours. The salary itself is not the end. It is fuel for leverage. Now, the first and most accessible form of leverage is skill. Because before most people can build large assets, they need to increase their earning power. This is especially true if the current salary is modest. If you invest a small amount of money, that is good. It builds discipline. But if your income is low, your largest early return may come from becoming more valuable. A skill that helps you earn more can change the whole equation. For example, writing that sells, video editing, graphic design, coding, data analysis, digital marketing, sales, copywriting, automation, language ability, public speaking, negotiation, project management, financial analysis, technical repair, professional consulting, operations improvement. The specific skill depends on the person, but the principle is universal. A marketable skill turns time into higher value time, and sometimes it stops being only time. A skill can become a service can become a product can become a system can become an asset. This is how leverage grows. At first, you may simply trade hours for extra money. That is not bad. If you need cash, services can be the fastest path. You solve a problem, someone pays you. But over time, you want to ask, can this service become repeatable? Can I package it? Can I raise prices? Can I teach it? Can I create templates? Can I hire help later? Can I turn common questions into content? Can I turn experience into a guide? Can I turn the guide into a product? Can I turn the product into a small business? That is leverage thinking. Not just how do I make extra money, but how do I build something that becomes easier, stronger, or more valuable over time? This is where many people get stuck. They chase extra income, but only in the lowest leverage ways. They take more hours, more shifts, more small tasks, more exhaustion. Sometimes that is necessary for a season. There is no shame in honest work. But if the extra income does not increase skills, assets, systems, or future optionality, it may simply be another treadmill. A second income stream should not only make you busier, it should make you stronger. So judge opportunities by what they build. Does this make me more skilled? Does this build reputation? Does this create relationships? Does this teach me how to sell? Does this create an asset? Does this generate proof? Does this compound? Can this become bigger than my direct hours? If the answer is always no, then the opportunity may be only temporary relief. Again, temporary relief can be useful, but do not confuse it with freedom. Now let's talk about services. Services are often the simplest way to start a second engine. You do not need a warehouse. You do not need inventory. You do not need a perfect brand. You do not need a large audience. You do not need a complicated company. You need a problem you can solve. People pay when a problem is painful enough, urgent enough, valuable enough, or annoying enough. A small business owner may pay someone to manage social media. A creator may pay someone to edit videos. A professional may pay someone to organize a presentation. A student may pay for tutoring. A local store may pay for basic advertising. A family may pay for language lessons. A consultant may pay for research. A restaurant may pay for better photos. A busy person may pay for administrative help. A property owner may pay for rental management. The world is full of problems that are not glamorous, but are profitable. The mistake is waiting for the perfect idea. The better move is to start with a useful offer. A useful offer says, I help this kind of person solve this specific problem and get this result. That is much better than saying, I can do many things. Clarity sells. Vague talent does not. If you can edit videos, do not only say, I edit videos. Say, I help small business owners turn raw phone footage into short promotional videos for social media. That is clearer. If you can organize finances, do not only say, I'm good with spreadsheets. Say, I help freelancers track income, expenses, taxes, and monthly profit in a simple spreadsheet they can actually use. If you can write, do not only say, I write. Say, I help professionals turn their ideas into LinkedIn posts, newsletters, or scripts that sound like them. This is not manipulation. It is translation. You are translating your skill into a result someone understands. And once you have a result, you can charge. At the beginning, you may charge less. That is okay. You are learning. But do not stay cheap forever. Cheap work can become a trap if it attracts people who do not value you. Raise prices as your skill, proof, and confidence improve. Now let's talk about content. Content is one of the most powerful forms of leverage, but also one of the most misunderstood. Many people hear content and think, go viral, make money fast, post videos and get paid, become famous, quit your job. That is fantasy for most people. Content is not automatically money. Content is distribution. It is a way to make your ideas, skills, personality, or knowledge visible at scale. Distribution can later create money through ads, through sponsors, through products, through services, through affiliate links, through courses, through consulting, through communities, through opportunities. But at the beginning, content usually gives you something else. Proof. Proof that you can explain. Proof that you can create. Proof that you can stay consistent. Proof that people care about a topic. Proof that your ideas have demand. Proof that you can build trust. That proof can become valuable. A person with content and skill has leverage because the content attracts attention and the skill converts attention into value. But content without skill becomes noise, and skill without distribution remains hidden. The combination matters. This is why creating content can be a strong second engine, especially if connected to a real skill, service, or product. A financial educator can create content and sell templates or consulting. A fitness coach can create content and sell programs. A doctor within ethical and legal limits can create educational content and build trust. A designer can show process and attract clients. A video editor can show before and after examples. A language teacher can post lessons and sell tutoring. A mechanic can explain common problems and attract local customers. A consultant can explain mistakes businesses make and sell audits. The content is not the business by itself. It is the road that brings people to the business. Now, another form of leverage. Digital products. Digital products are attractive because they can be created once and sold many times. A guide, a template, a course, a checklist, a training, a spreadsheet, a script pack, a design pack, a research report, a workflow, a lesson library. Unlike services, digital products can scale better. But they are not magic. The hard part is not only creating the product. The hard part is knowing what people actually want, earning trust, and getting distribution. Many people create a product no one asked for, and then they blame the market. The smarter path is to start with service, content, or direct conversations. Find repeated problems. If many people ask the same question, struggle with the same process, or need the same explanation, that may become a product. A product should not begin as your fantasy. It should begin as a repeated demand. This is why services and content often come before products. They teach you what the market wants. Then you package the solution. Financial content often mentions digital products as a way to create income because they do not have the same inventory limits as physical products. But again, the principle is not sell anything digital. The principle is solve a real problem once in a format that can help many people. That is leverage. Now let's talk about consulting. Consulting sounds intimidating to many people. They imagine corporate boardrooms, expensive suits, and experts with decades of experience. But consulting simply means helping someone make better decisions or implement better systems based on knowledge you have. If you know something deeply enough to save someone time, prevent mistakes, increase income, reduce risk, or improve results, there may be consulting value. A former manager can help small businesses organize operations. A teacher can help parents support students. A healthcare professional can educate audiences within proper boundaries. A marketer can help local businesses improve campaigns. A finance-minded person can help individuals understand budgeting systems. A technician can help people choose equipment. A creator can help beginners build workflows. The key is honesty. Do not pretend to be an expert where you are not. Do not sell certainty you do not have. Do not promise results you cannot control. Good consulting is not pretending to know everything. It is bringing clarity where the other person has confusion, and clarity has value. Now, another powerful form of leverage is small assets. People often think assets require huge money. Real estate, large businesses, expensive equipment, big portfolios, but some assets begin small. A website, a newsletter, a YouTube channel, a template, a course, a small machine, a tool that generates service income, a tiny portfolio, a rental asset, a database, a brand, a professional reputation, a system. Some financial education examples talk about small machines, small businesses, stocks, ETFs, and real estate as ways money can start working beyond direct labor. The concept is important. An asset is something that can help produce value beyond the moment you buy it. Not every asset is passive. Many require maintenance. A business requires work. A rental requires management. A channel requires content. A portfolio requires patience. A product requires marketing. A machine requires placement and upkeep. But the direction is different from pure consumption. Consumption ends when the pleasure ends. Assets can keep producing. That is why your salary should gradually buy or build assets, even small ones, because small assets create proof, learning, and momentum. Now, let's be realistic. A second engine will probably start ugly. It will not feel clean. Your first offer may be awkward. Your first video may be bad. Your first client may be small. Your first product may not sell. Your first investment may feel boring. Your first attempt may fail. Your first months may look pointless. This is normal. The beginning is supposed to be inefficient. You are learning. Many people quit because the first version does not match the fantasy version in their head. They imagine a smooth business, but reality gives them confusion. They imagine passive income, but reality gives them upfront work. They imagine quick validation, but reality gives them silence. They imagine confidence, but reality gives them doubt. That is not a sign to stop. It is the cost of becoming someone who can build. You do not become financially stronger by only doing things that feel easy, but you also should not be reckless. Start small. Use controlled experiments. Do not risk money you cannot lose on ideas you have not tested. Do not quit your job because you had one good month. Do not borrow heavily to look like a business owner. Do not buy expensive equipment before you have demand. Do not confuse planning with progress. Do not spend 6 months designing a logo for an offer no one wants. The simplest test is this. Can you get one person to pay for a specific result? One client, one sale, one paid project, one small proof. That matters more than a perfect brand, because money from the market is feedback. Not all feedback is perfect, but it is more real than imagination. Once you have proof, improve. Make the offer clearer. Improve delivery. Ask for testimonials. Raise price slowly. Create repeatable steps. Document your process. Turn common questions into content. Turn repeated tasks into templates. Turn experience into a product. That is how the second engine grows. Not through fantasy, through iteration. Now let's connect this back to your salary. Your salary gives you 2 advantages when building a second engine. First, it gives you stability. You do not need the new thing to pay all your bills immediately. That reduces desperation. Desperation makes you sell badly. It makes you accept bad clients. It makes you undercharge. It makes you chase trends. It makes you quit too early. It makes you panic when results are slow. A salary can give you breathing room while you build. Second, your salary gives you capital. Not huge capital, perhaps, but enough to fund learning, tools, experiments, and basic infrastructure. A course, a microphone, software, a website, a small ad test, a prototype, a certification, a tool, a portfolio project. Used correctly, salary becomes seed money. Used poorly, salary becomes comfort money. The difference is whether the money creates future capacity. This is why every paycheck should include a growth allocation, even small, a fixed amount that says, this money is not for my current lifestyle. This money is for becoming more capable. That habit is powerful because it makes growth inevitable. Slow maybe, but inevitable. Every month you become slightly more skilled, slightly better equipped, slightly more visible, slightly more connected, slightly more independent. That is how dependence weakens, not in one dramatic move, in repeated reductions. One debt less, one skill more, one client found, one asset built, one investment made, one system improved, 1 month of expenses saved. This is the real path, not glamorous, but real. Now, there is a trap we must address. When people start earning extra money, they often inflate their lifestyle immediately. They finally make an extra $500, $1,000, $2,000, or $5,000, and they spend it as a reward. Some reward is fine. You are human. But if every new income stream becomes a new spending stream, you built nothing. You only increased the speed of the leak. Extra income must have rules before it arrives. For example, a portion goes to taxes if necessary. A portion goes to reinvestment. A portion goes to emergency fund or debt. A portion goes to long-term investments. A portion can be enjoyed. The exact percentage depends on your situation. But the rule must exist, because money without a rule gets absorbed by emotion. And the goal of a second engine is not to make you a more expensive consumer. The goal is to make you less dependent. That is the central idea. Less dependent on one paycheck. Less dependent on one boss. Less dependent on debt. Less dependent on luck. Less dependent on approval. Less dependent on economic calm. Less dependent on perfect conditions. Freedom is the reduction of dependence. So ask yourself, what can I build with my current salary that lowers my dependence 1 year from now? Not tomorrow. 1 year from now. Could you have an emergency fund? Could you have one marketable skill? Could you have a small portfolio? Could you have one paying client? Could you have a simple product? Could you have a channel with proof of consistency? Could you have less debt? Could you have lower fixed costs? Could you have better professional options? 1 year is enough time to change your direction. Maybe not your entire life, but your direction, and direction matters. Because most people are not behind because they moved slowly. They are behind because they repeated the wrong direction for too long. Now, let's summarize the second engine in a simple framework. Step 1. Choose one marketable skill, not 10. 1. Step 2. Practice it until you can produce a clear result for someone. Not perfection, a result. Step 3. Offer that result to a specific type of person. Specificity matters. Step 4. Get proof, a client, a testimonial, a sample, a before and after, a case study, a portfolio piece. Step 5. Use content or networking to increase visibility. Step 6. Reinvest part of the earnings into better tools, better learning, and better distribution. Step 7. Turn repeated work into systems, templates, products, or higher-priced services. That is how extra income becomes leverage. And over time, the second engine changes your relationship with the first. Your job may still matter, but it no longer owns your entire future. That is the psychological shift. At first, you work because you must. Later, you work with more options. Eventually, if the system grows enough, you may choose what work deserves your time. That is freedom, not never working, not doing nothing, not pretending money falls from the sky. Freedom is having enough structure, assets, skills, and options that you are no longer forced to accept every bad deal life offers you. And your salary can be the beginning of that, not the obstacle. The beginning. The final shift is identity. Because money systems do not last if identity does not change. A person who sees themselves as a paycheck survivor will always use money differently from a person who sees themselves as a financial builder. The paycheck survivor thinks, I just need to make it to the next payday. The financial builder thinks, how do I make the next payday less necessary? That difference may look small, but it changes everything. The survivor uses money for relief. The builder uses money for structure. The survivor spends to recover from exhaustion. The builder allocates to reduce future exhaustion. The survivor asks, what can I afford? The builder asks, what does this cost my freedom? The survivor wants more income because the current life feels tight. The builder wants a better system because they know more income can be wasted. The survivor sees a paycheck as permission to breathe. The builder sees a paycheck as raw material. And raw material must be shaped. If you receive income and do not shape it, the world will shape it for you. Banks will shape it. Advertisements will shape it. Subscriptions will shape it. Impulse will shape it. Status will shape it. Convenience will shape it. Fear will shape it. Comparison will shape it. Old habits will shape it. And if all those forces shape your paycheck, do not be surprised when it builds someone else's wealth instead of yours. This is the brutal truth. Your salary is already working. The question is whether it is working for you or for everyone else. When you pay interest, your salary works for the lender. When you buy things you do not need, your salary works for the company that studied your attention. When you upgrade to impress people, your salary works for your insecurity. When you pay subscriptions, you forgot. Your salary works for systems designed to be invisible. When you spend emotionally, your salary works for your temporary mood. But when you invest, your salary starts working for your future. When you build an emergency fund, your salary works for your peace. When you pay debt, your salary works to recover your freedom. When you learn a skill, your salary works to increase your value. When you build a second engine, your salary works to reduce dependence. That is the game. Not whether you earn money, but who your money serves after you earn it. Every paycheck has a direction. Most people never choose that direction consciously. They simply inherit patterns from family, from culture, from friends, from advertising, from stress, from survival, from fear of looking poor, from the belief that working hard must be rewarded with spending. But inherited patterns do not automatically build freedom. Sometimes they build repetition. The same month again and again. Earn, spend, stress, wait, earn, spend, stress, wait. Years pass like that, and the tragedy is not only financial. It is emotional, because a person starts to feel that life is not moving. They are working, they are trying, they are tired. But there is no distance between them and the next problem. No room, no cushion, no growth, no ownership, no control. That feeling is not laziness. It is often the emotional result of a broken financial system. When every paycheck dies, part of your hope dies with it. So the goal is simple. Make sure every paycheck leaves something alive, something protected, something invested, something learned, something paid down, something built, something that remains after the month ends. That is how you stop starting from zero. Because if every paycheck disappears completely, you are forced to restart your life financially over and over. But if every paycheck leaves something alive, then time starts helping you. Debt falls, savings rise, skills improve, assets accumulate, confidence grows, options appear. And the same salary that once felt like a ceiling becomes the floor you are building from. Now let's make the final rules clear. Rule 1. Do not let your paycheck enter chaos. The day you get paid, divide it. Not later. Not after you see what is left. Not after the weekend. Not after you handle a few things. Immediately. Money must receive instructions before impulses arrive. A paycheck should not sit in your account as a temptation pool. It should be assigned bills, emergency fund, debt, investment, skill growth, second engine, flexible spending. The categories can vary, but the principle cannot. Unassigned money disappears. Rule 2. Your future self must be treated like a real obligation. People treat rent as real. They treat the electric bill as real. They treat the bank as real. They treat a car payment as real. But they treat their future as optional. That is backwards. Your future self is not optional. That future person will inherit the consequences of what you do now. If you spend everything, they inherit pressure. If you build nothing, they inherit dependence. If you ignore debt, they inherit less freedom. If you avoid learning, they inherit fewer options. If you invest consistently, they inherit possibility. So pay that person. Every paycheck, even if the amount is small. Consistency matters because it confirms identity. You are not waiting for a perfect moment. You are becoming the kind of person who builds. Rule 3. Never upgrade your lifestyle faster than you upgrade your foundation. This rule can save years of your life. When income rises, pause. Before improving the visible life, improve the invisible base. Emergency fund first. Debt reduction first. Investment rate first. Skill growth first. Business capital first, then lifestyle. If you do this, raises become powerful. If you do not, raises become invisible. Many people earn more and feel no richer because every raise gets swallowed by a more expensive lifestyle. Do not let that happen. A raise should not only buy better comfort, it should buy more freedom. Rule 4. Do not buy status with money that should be buying options. Status is expensive because it must be maintained. A car can become status. A neighborhood can become status. Clothes can become status. Restaurants can become status. Vacations can become status. Technology can become status. Status spending is dangerous because it looks like success while quietly reducing flexibility. And flexibility is wealth. The ability to move, choose, wait, negotiate, invest, rest, or walk away is wealth. Do not trade that for applause from people who will not pay your bills. Rule 5. Invest only after understanding the risk. Do not confuse investing with chasing. Chasing is emotional. Investing is deliberate. Chasing asks, what is going up? Investing asks, what am I buying? Why? At what risk? And for how long? Chasing wants excitement. Investing accepts boredom. Chasing depends on hype. Investing depends on process. If you cannot explain an investment simply, you are not ready to put serious money into it. Learn first. Start small if needed. Understand volatility. Understand time horizon. Understand diversification. Understand that markets can punish impatience. Your goal is not to feel smart today. Your goal is to still be building 10 years from now. Rule 6. Use your salary to increase your earning power. Every year, you should become more capable. If your skills are the same, your options may shrink. The world changes. Industries change. Technology changes. Markets change. Demand changes. A salary can make people comfortable enough to stop growing. That is dangerous. So set aside money and time for skill growth, not random growth, strategic growth. A skill that can increase your income, improve your leverage, or help build a second engine. Because the best investment for someone with limited capital may be the ability to earn more. Then that higher income can be saved, invested, and multiplied. Rule 7. Build a second engine before you desperately need one. Do not wait until you hate your job. Do not wait until you are fired. Do not wait until a crisis. Do not wait until panic makes you reckless. Build while the paycheck still supports you. Start small. One skill, one offer, one client, one product, one channel, one portfolio, one system. The beginning does not need to be impressive. It needs to exist. An imperfect second engine is better than a perfect idea that never leaves your head. Rule 8. Reinvest extra income before it becomes lifestyle. Extra income is dangerous if it has no rule, because it feels like free money. And free money gets spent easily. So decide before it arrives. A portion for taxes if needed. A portion for reinvestment. A portion for debt or emergency fund. A portion for long-term investing. A portion for enjoyment. This keeps extra income from becoming extra leakage. Remember, the purpose of extra income is not only to consume more, it is to depend less. Rule 9. Measure what remains, not just what you earn. Earning can hide weakness. Someone can earn a lot and keep nothing. Someone can look successful and own little. Someone can have impressive income and terrifying obligations. So measure what remains after your lifestyle is done. How much debt decreased? How much emergency fund increased? How much was invested? What skill improved? What asset was built? What system became stronger? What income stream was created? How much freedom did this month buy? That is the real score. Not appearance, not income alone. Freedom purchased. Rule 10. Do not wait for confidence. Confidence often comes after action, not before. If you wait until you feel ready to manage money perfectly, you may wait for years. Start with imperfect action. Separate something. Track something. Cancel something. Pay down something. Learn something. Invest a small amount after understanding it. Offer a small service. Build a simple asset. Take one step that leaves evidence. Evidence creates confidence. Promises do not. Now let's return to the central idea. Your salary is not the enemy. Your salary is not automatically a prison. Your salary can become the first investor in your freedom, but only if you stop treating it as permission to consume. A paycheck is compressed life. It represents hours you will never get back. Energy you spent, attention you gave, stress you carried, problems you solved, commutes you endured, tasks you completed, time you traded. So when that paycheck arrives, do not treat it casually. It is not just numbers on a screen. It is part of your life converted into money. And now you must decide whether that money will disappear or transform. Will it become another month of survival? Or will part of it become protection? Will it become emotional spending? Or will part of it become ownership? Will it become a more expensive cage? Or will part of it become the key? That is the choice. And no, the choice will not be perfect every month. Life is real. Emergencies happen. Families need help. Prices rise. Mistakes happen. Motivation falls. Some months will be messy. But direction matters more than perfection. A person moving in the right direction imperfectly is still ahead of a person waiting for perfect conditions. So start with the next paycheck. Not someday, the next one. Before it arrives, decide the rules. What percentage goes to protection? What amount goes to debt? What amount goes to long-term investing? What amount goes to skill growth? What amount funds the second engine? What spending will you reduce? What purchase will you delay? What habit will you stop feeding? What will remain alive when the month ends? That last question is everything. What will remain alive? Because if nothing remains, the paycheck died. And if every paycheck dies, your financial future depends on endless labor. But if something remains every time, you are building. Quietly, slowly, maybe invisibly at first, but building. And one day, the difference becomes undeniable. You have less debt, more cash, better skills, more confidence, a small portfolio, a second income stream, a product, a client base, a professional reputation, a system, options. And once you have options, your relationship with work changes. You may still work, but you are not begging life to keep one door open. You have more than one door. That is freedom beginning to form. Not luxury, not applause, not pretending. Freedom. The ability to breathe, to choose, to refuse, to wait, to invest, to build, to leave if necessary, to stay if it makes sense, to live without every paycheck feeling like rescue. That is what your salary can buy if you direct it. So the next time you get paid, do not only ask, what can I spend? Ask, what can I build? Because your salary is not keeping you poor. Your system is. And when the system changes, the same paycheck can become the beginning of a different life.